Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're back on the couch. Today, I'm gonna share with you guys my thoughts and opinions of China after living here for over 12 years. So, uh, before we do, if you're new here, my name is John. I'm an expat that's been living here in China for over 12 years. I'm still here, and yeah, I do a lot of things, man. I work here. I do some investing and all kind of other things too. Some small businesses and stuff. Anyway, that's besides the point. Today, I want to talk to you guys about uh, my overall thoughts and opinions on China and how those things have changed as well. Because it was much different before than it is now. So let's dive into it. First of all, right when I first arrived in China in July of 2010, and right now, at filming this video, this is October, or almost October, a couple of days away from October of 2022, and things have changed a lot since when I first arrived in 2010. Things are very, very, very different now. And so some of my thoughts and opinions on China have definitely changed from when I arrived versus now. So, first of all, like when I first arrived back in 2010, I'm from a small city in America. Like we had like population of like 30,000 people or something like that. And when I first arrived in China, in Shenzhen, 20 million people. It's a big difference in just life, going from small place to big city. And but it was so different and so interesting and so exciting, and his life was really, really different. And I didn't know anything at that time either. When I arrived, I didn't know nothing about Chinese language or Chinese culture or anything like that. So everything I did was still kind of like American style, American way, but just did it in China. And man, it was so cool though, because like at that point in time, I had a really like positive outlook on China, and being a foreigner in China, like a lot of the Chinese people, they were just like extremely friendly and hospitable, and just it was like, man, I felt like a rock star everywhere I went. People, just like asked me like, hey, like, can I like take a picture with you? And like you just be walking down the street, people grab you like, oh, they want to take your picture, take a picture with you, do all this crazy stuff. But they were like overall very friendly, right? And I met a lot of Chinese people that I actually made good friends with, and we're still friends to this day, and they've treated me really well. And then on some other things positive, like definitely like the food was really shocking to me, because Chinese food in America is really, really different than Chinese food in China. So that was like kind of mind blowing for me, but I really enjoy Chinese food. I still do to this day. Like I like Chinese food, and the real Chinese food, not American style Chinese food, but I really enjoy Chinese food, and that's something that's never changed, and I've only grown a greater appreciation for it over the years. So yeah, Chinese food is wonderful. But as of recently, as far as the people go, I feel sentiment towards foreigners has really, really changed a lot. Ever since the start of COVID up until now, the treatment that I've received from Chinese people, like mostly strangers, like they pass by on the street and stuff, is very, very different than what it used to be. It's quite, I don't know how to put it in a nice way. It's quite prejudiced or racist. Like, you'll be walking down the street and people will like literally see you and they'll cover their face, and like they're scared to breathe the air you're breathing. And sometimes they'll even like walk on the other side of the street, or if you get on like a subway or something, or on the elevator, people like literally like back up in the corner or just go as far away from you as they can, almost like you're dangerous to them, like you have some type of disease or something. And I've even had people tell me like, go back to your home country. You foreigners are sick, or you bring some sickness here, bring some virus here. Go back home, stuff like that. I've had those things said to me, and it's just changed, man. It's so different. It used to not be like that at all. And so now, definitely experience a lot of like racism and prejudices and things like that never experienced before. So it's definitely changed a lot as far as how I'm treated by people, especially strangers that you don't know, and it's not been very pleasant. Like the past, since COVID started, like at first it wasn't bad, and then after about a year of COVID, then it progressively got worse and worse and worse. And now, you know, China still has a zero COVID policy, and every time some tiny little thing happens, like oftentimes the way it's reported, even in the news, it's like, you know, there's a foreign case of COVID, or a case of COVID entered the country from, they'll say a foreigner brought it in or something like that. But then later it comes out that it was actually like a Chinese person who was overseas and they came back to China or something like that. But the government just reports, oh, it's a foreign case or foreigner case, and then all the people are scared of foreigners. They think we're bringing these diseases in, which I've been here for 12 years. You know, I'm not bringing anything in. I've been here, haven't been going anywhere. So, you know, they do these kind of things, and it really scares the Chinese people into thinking that foreigners are bad, or, you know, have some diseases or something like that. And you get a lot of prejudice from it. So it's really been frustrating, especially the past year has been really bad. Now another thing I'll talk about will be work culture here, because most people, if you're planning to come to China to live, you're probably going to work, right? So when it comes to work culture here, it's really it's never been great, just because the style of the working style is really different. Because, you know, like typically for us foreigners or Westerners, usually, like, if there's something you need to do, right, like, you know what your job is, and your boss expects you to know what your job is, and they'll tell you, like, you know, you need to do this thing, right? And then you go do the thing, and you're like, hey, I'm done, right? But here it's kind of like really micromanaging. It's like they'll tell you to do something, but they won't tell you like how they want you to do it or nothing, right? Which is fine, you know, but then you go do the thing, and then after you do it and like, hey, I'm done, then they say, well, that's, you know, not what I wanted, or not how I wanted it done. I want it done this way instead. So then you have to go back and redo the thing over again. So it's like a lot of times you end up doing something 2 or 3 or 4 times because they don't give you clear direction on what it is that they want. And, you know, for us, when people tell us to do something, we just go do it, we come back, hey, I'm done. And that's usually okay. They don't care how you did it as long as you got it done. But here in China, it's different. They always want something done like some particular way, but they don't tell you that in advance. They just say, go do this. So you just automatically assume, okay, I'm going to go do this. And you go do it, come back. It's not right. Do it again. Do it again. And it's finally you get fed up and you're like, well, what the fuck do you want from me? You know, how do you want to do this? Show me what you want me to do. And then they'll be like, okay, I'll show you how to do it. And but it's so much time wasted on these kind of things, you know. It's really frustrating in that aspect. And then the other thing that I find really frustrating when it comes to working in China and the work culture is just like there's no organization and planning for the most part. Like every job I've ever worked at here in China over the past 12 years is kind of like, you know, there's like a basic idea of a plan, right? And then just all of a sudden, like there's no warning, no advance, no nothing. Like they will literally just come to your office and say, oh, I need you to do this thing right now. But it's usually something that's like a big task that requires some sort of planning, at least like 1 day in advance. But they don't tell you 1 day in advance. They tell you 1 minute in advance. They literally come say, hey, 1 minute from now or 5 minutes from now, I need you to go here and do this thing. And you're like, but I'm not prepared. And they're like, oh, it's okay. Just go do it. So those kind of things like that are really frustrating. And the other thing that I find annoying is the holidays. You know, they do have long holidays here, which is wonderful, right? Like for the most part, you'll get a lot of holidays, especially compared to, you know, Western cultures and like in America, a place like that. You don't really get many holidays. Here, you get a lot of holidays. Okay, so that's a great thing. Typically, I work about 9 months out of a 12-month year. So I work about 9 months of the year, but I get paid for 12 months. So a holiday is good in that sense, but also at the same time, some holidays are really kind of annoying in a way. It's like, say for example, if a holiday falls like on a Friday, right? So you might work like Monday through Thursday, right? You'll be off on Friday and Saturday. You're supposed to be off on Sunday, but they'll say, oh, you had a holiday on Friday, so we're gonna make it up this week. We're gonna work on Sunday. So the next week, it's like you might be off on Friday and Saturday because the holiday falls on a Friday. But then on Sunday, instead of being off, you got to go to work. So you'll work Sunday through Friday. So you'll work 6 days in a row. So, well, one week you work 4 days, the next week you work 6. So you're still working the same amount of days. It's just, they just shift the days off. And they say, oh, it's a holiday. It's not a holiday. I'm still working. I'm actually working more days. I'm working, 48 hours a week instead of 40. But the previous week you only work like 32 hours, something like that. So it's like when they have these holidays, they always have these makeup days. It's always a makeup day. You got to make it up. Just like when you go to school when you're a kid and they have a snow day, and then at the end of the year you got to tack those snow days back on at the end of the year and redo them. It's the same thing. They just do it the next week here instead of at the end of the year. So you have a holiday, you take off that day, then you've got to make it up on the weekend and actually work on the weekend. It's like I'd rather just work on the damn holiday. So this kind of thing's kind of annoying when you're dealing with some of the work culture things here. Some other things that have really changed a lot also was like when it comes to like finances, like your banking and things like that. A long time ago, it was really easy to send money out of the country because I like to send money home, to have money at home to put in my bank account at home or to invest or to give to my kids or something like that, right? And a long time ago, you could just go to like some banks or like Western Union, and most of the banks have Western Union inside, but you could literally just show up and be like, you could be like, here's my ID card, here's my money, I want to send this to America, right? And it's like 20 minutes, you sit there and wait, and they type in the name and address, all this stuff, and bam, your money goes where you want it to go. Now it's not like that. Now you have to have a mountain of documents. You got to go to your employer and get a printout of all the salary you've been paid and how much you've paid in taxes. You have to get some kind of official stamp from your employer that they're actually a registered company. You got to go to the local tax department for whatever city you live in. You have to get a printout from the government tax office that says, oh, you received this much salary, you paid this much tax. Official stamp from them. You got to have your work contract with the official work stamp. You have to have your housing contract, like your lease, like for the apartment you're renting. You have to have that, again, with the stamp. You have to have all these documents just to go to the bank and send money home. So it's not easy to get your money out of the country anymore. It's really, really regulated and restricted. And so there's a lot of laws and rules and restrictions that used to not be in effect that are in effect now, which makes it much more difficult than it used to be. So right now, a lot of things are changing for foreigners in China, especially over the past few years since COVID started. A lot of these rules and regulations have really just there's been more and more and more of them created, and they're becoming more and more strict about how they handle all these things. So overall, man, right now my current stance is that I really love and appreciate China and all the things China has done for me and in my life. But at the same time, right now, I'm not extremely happy with living here and the way things are going. And I honestly feel like it's about time to move on. So maybe soon I might be moving to a new country. I'm thinking about either moving to Vietnam or Thailand. I really love Thailand. I've been there many times. I've been to Vietnam too, but I've been to Thailand many times, and I really love Thailand. There's the beaches and the chill, laid back lifestyle and stuff there. I really love that a lot, and I like the food and stuff too. People are awesome there too. but I don't know anybody there. But I do have a good friend in Vietnam, and I'm considering going there just at least because I know somebody there instead of starting like all over again by myself. At least I'll have a good friend nearby that I can, hang out with and do stuff with as I, grow and get used to living in that country. So I'm considering those two places. So we'll see what happens over time. But for right now, I'm still here in China. But we'll see how much longer it's gonna last. Who knows? It might not last very long. Anyways, that's my overall idea and thoughts and opinions and how things have changed since I've been here, over this long time period, and how my thoughts and feelings have changed over time. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Anyway, like the damn video. If you got any questions about China or anything like that, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to make a video for you or answer your questions. And see you guys next time. Take care.